vacation today. We are working and moving and traveling and all of the things today. And it's such a great day for us to talk about how to cut yourself a break when you're in the middle of the craziness. And so my name is Elizabeth Doss, and I am a social media consultant. I also help with making animated GIFs for brands. If you're curious, reach out, and I'm going to hand things over to Steph to get started today.
Well, hello, Elizabeth. Hopefully you are, you're definitely not driving, so this is good. Safety first. And I am also safe, but as you said before, we are on a location in our respective places, getting the things done, pushing the buttons, still showing up. And I think at the end of the day, that is the message that we're trying to get across today. For those of you that are new to Cultivate Weekly, I'm Stephanie Gillis-Palgard. I'm the brand architect behind Take Roots Consulting. I work with small businesses and nonprofits on both that traditional PR marketing strategy, but also leaning into how to do that storytelling with those other tools in our tool box, also known as social media and all those platforms that are available to us. And that does not suggest in any way, shape, or form that I am saying you need to be on all the platforms, but where you currently are or where your people are is where you should be. And how do you show up within and amongst all the chaos that is running a business and doing all of the other things as I watch my, Elizabeth press all the buttons and do all of the things. This is, again, why we show up here on Cultivate Weekly every week, trying to break down, trying to give some friendly tips and tricks and give you your permission slip to show up, not perfect, pushing the buttons. Consistency is important, but what is consistency? It's what it means and is really doable for you. It might mean that I'm showing up less on one platform now, that I've focused in on one over the other, that I'm repurposing content from one platform to another, still thinking about calls to action, still thinking about what is the message that I want to share with my community to position myself as a thought leader, to be able to attract the right people into my community, and what, again, is the storytelling that I want to share. It all goes back to that, and using social media is just one of the ways in which we do storytelling, because it connects people. People do business with people. So with all of that, and I think, Elizabeth, you're still with me. I know that because you're traveling, it may be in and out. So we will work with it because, hey, what? This is life. And it just goes to prove you can still show up and it doesn't need to be perfect. We are case study one.
Exactly. So I was thinking about, I'm like, okay, when has this happened recently for me? Because I wanted to pull in the whole post it anyway mentality. So my last post that I did, we use this awesome platform called Riverside.fm. If you're curious, we can get you a link for how this works. It streams to multiple places, but it also gives us these things called magic clips where we can, with AI, it'll trim down and I can even narrow it down to the different speakers and stuff. It'll give us the reels in the format that we need, and some fun stuff, extra things Steph's been playing with. But it will create these little magic clips for us to be able to post on social media that we can then point back to these conversations. So it's a really great way to harness content in the wild. Okay, Steph. So this last post that I did, I cut a clip out, but I was like, man, I really wish that I said a different word right here. Like, I think I said posting and I wanted to say commenting. And I was like, oh, well, but then I saw this little button where it was like video, or it said audio dub or whatever. And I was like, ooh, I'll try that. So I changed the word, and it was like, it's going to take a while to process. Feel free to do some more editing and stuff, and then come back to it. And so I just let it do its thing. Well, I went ahead and exported the video. I thought it was just going to dub the audio. It decided that I guess it does the video as well. So, because it's not a super great quality on here. Anyway, it added an animated mouth over top of my mouth with these giant buck teeth. And I was like, oh my God, I have this like horse smile because it's like commenting. And I'm like, no, 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 no. Anyway, so I sat there for a second. I was like, you know what? For me to go back and fix this to make it perfect because of one stupid word, it's going to take me having to go back, figure out how to undub what they dubbed. Because I thought it was just going to change the audio, not add a bucktooth grin on there. So I was just like, you know what? I'm just going to leave it and it'll make me laugh, like to think about. And so instead of then taking an entire extra half an hour of my day that I did not have, I was like, it is 90% there, so I'm just going to go with it. And so I guess I wanted to give you your bucktooth excuse, your permission slip to post the dang video, even if there's a part of it that messes up or AI messes it up for you. Back to you, Steph.
Okay,
I
so
see I'm
I
glitching.
watched that clip and I didn't catch that. So I need to go back and watch that particular post again. So duly noted. I'm doing that. Here's something that happened to me, and it was yesterday, so pretty fresh, pretty fresh. I did some batch, content creation on the weekend while I was on the deck after a long run, and I was feeling inspired. I felt so good about it. I didn't go back and double check it before I hit post. This was over on Instagram. It was an Instagram reel. And again, proud of myself, right? Repurposing some content, taking a quick, short clip that already exists in my camera roll, not overthinking it, with a cool audio, teaching people, hey, listen, if you're feeling stuck, try this. Like I'm up there, I'm showing up for community, trying to encourage people to do exactly what we're talking about. And then I realized, because when I was batch creating, I moved the wrong caption over to that piece. And then so it didn't go through. I was looking at it yesterday because I was like, huh, that's really weird. It's not really doing anything. Although I've noticed since going viral on Instagram that my account, whether or not people believe shadow banning is a real thing, it is. But it just doesn't seem to be doing much. Then I went in and I looked at the caption and went, Stephanie, like, did you forget to drink your coffee? Like, what's going on here? And I thought, well, I could delete it and just upload a different one. I was like, why would I do that? It already had like several hundred views attached to it, not a lot of engagement, but it was having some views. And I was like, just update the caption. Like, what are you doing? And so it's those types of things that we get in our head about, well, what do we do? It's not exactly the way it was supposed to be. Well, what's the next thing? Well, take the buck tooth example, or the just update your caption. If it's as simple as, I forgot to put a CTA, wonder why nobody's engaging in my LinkedIn post, or I wonder why nothing's happening over on my TikTok. Well, if you forgot a CTA, go in and adjust it, and you can make edits so quickly on the fly. You can be in Instagram stories and you forgot to tag or do an at mention on a particular account. You can go in and do it after the fact. So, going back to how we started this conversation of giving ourselves permission to make those mistakes, to not show up so perfect, and just push the buttons, it's far better. The algorithm isn't looking for perfect, the algorithm is looking for content. So you give yourself a little bit of grace as we try to navigate very busy lives, very busy schedules, very long to-do lists, and just say, hey, I showed up today. And that to me is far more powerful. And it's just a friendly reminder for everyone that is maybe struggling to show up in a way, or at least consistently, from their perspective, because it doesn't need to be daily. This notion of showing up several times a day, doing different things on different platforms. No, when you have over a billion people using Instagram, the way in which your content is being fed to your community, it's not the same as what it was even a year ago, or God forbid, like 3 or 4 years ago. It's going through the cycle. So showing up at all is a good thing, and give yourself a little check mark, 100%, just for showing up. Back to you, Elizabeth.
Exactly. And there is this thing in the Amish community. They make quilts and they're absolutely beautiful. Most of the time, obviously, they're done by hand. They're not using machines, etc. So, and they pride themselves on it being beautiful and excellent, high quality work. But they also have this humility factor where they know that only God is perfect. So they intentionally put one square in there that's a different color or it's turned the wrong way or whatever. So they are saying that only God's perfect. I'm still a hot mess, even though my work is actually pretty amazing. So I will sometimes think along those lines, like, oh, well, this is just my little turned square, just to keep myself humble, to say, oh, this is where you've messed up. But Steph, I was thinking about this. I had a choir teacher in college. It was like 100-person choir, and he would tell us if like because he would want us to shape our mouths in a certain way so everybody's was the same, so the sound would project in a different way, in these big auditoriums and stuff. And he would say to us, if you don't feel foolish doing this, then you look foolish because you don't match everyone else. And that always stuck with me, that this is going to feel foolish. Us holding up a camera and filming ourselves, whether you're out in public or you're wherever, you've got to cut yourself a break. That there is a foolish element to this that you just kind of have to embrace and lean into, and recognize what your limitations are, and also cut yourself a break on the places where it may not be completely perfect. So I wanted to throw that in there. And then the other thing that he would teach us is, because he was also my voice teacher, and this is something every voice teacher I have had that has taught me to sing opera, all these things, they would say, if you make a mistake, do not show it, because the audience may not know that there's a mistake. They will know there's a mistake if you tell them there's a mistake in how you respond, or you get upset with yourself or whatever. You've got to finish the song. It's the same with sports stuff too. I think that if you mess something up, you can't sit there and pout about it. You've got to finish the game. You've got to keep moving. The game's going to keep going on with or without you. And so I guess my encouraging word to people is, you don't have to let people know you made a mistake, except like today when I'm telling you guys about my buck tooth situation. And so
But
so
that's just straight
I
up
will,
funny.
and now I get to use that as an example of not being perfect. So I'll hand things back to you, Steph.
No, it's all good. I thought maybe we could throw out some of our own kind of favorite, either friendly reminders, tips, things like this, because it is some days it's just a hot mess, right? It's like we're saying, but showing up on social media isn't always about the campaign. It's about starting the conversation. I also like to encourage people to, whether you're using ChatGPT, any type of AI to help you generate, get your thoughts down, whatever the case may be, you know, write Write it like you text. Make it conversational. It doesn't always need to be. Now, again, if your brand voice is very corporate, then of course you're going to follow your brand voice. For me, I always say I'm like fully caffeinated Stephanie. I'm a high energy person. I'm a capacity builder. I like to show up and deliver content that's educational, the simple tricks, the step by step approach. And so I want to be able to craft my captions or my articles in the way in which I talk. So when you meet me in person, well, yeah, I'm a lot. We already know this, with or without caffeine. Caffeine just makes it that much more fun for people. But that's what it is. It's like writing how I would text somebody makes it relatable. And so, and still being able to show up and ask the question or start the conversation. So, again, it doesn't need to be about the campaign necessarily, but it should be leaning into this notion of starting a conversation, as I hear some kind of alarm go off. So don't mind me, as I may need to evacuate at any moment, but this is what happens when.
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Oh, I hear it now. I just heard it then. Um, just keep us posted, Steph, if you need to find out what's going on. Hopefully, someone will come in and get you if you need to go. No, so something, Steph, I have been noticing with some of the clients that I've been working with, a lot of them like this idea of a neat package of a post where there's an intro, a middle, an outro, a like called out, all these things. But I think some of the posts that I think that do really well are ones that are in the middle of the conversation. I think we have to have a complete thought or have that obvious call to action at the end of the post or something to make this work. And you honestly, you don't need to, because you can have these little clips that are just a portion of the conversation, because hopefully what it does is it builds your credibility, and it gives you a different way of speaking. And so one way I would encourage people to start potentially harvesting content is, if you're doing a Zoom call or a video meeting, ask the client, I would like to record this for my own purposes. Now, don't ever post a video of a client without their permission, or an audio, anything of them. Do not disclose any of their information. But there's times where you're conveying information in a very clear and concise way to that client that is universal, that you potentially could repurpose as content. Because we speak differently when we're talking to people than we do when we start to try to curate that idea. So, Steph, have you ever taken a portion? I know you do with Riverside, but have you ever taken a portion of a conversation and either repurposed it or reshot it because of the idea that you had, and then being able to reshare it?
Well, certainly that was something that you shared with me not too long ago, because some of the clips, when I would go back, you talked about it earlier, magic clips within Riverside FM. I'd be like, oh, so there's a super cool editing function in there, but it just didn't land maybe the way I wanted to. Have I gone back and done that? No, honestly, am I going to? That's the plan. But I will say that when I've done, virtual calls with clients or brainstorming sessions, I have most absolutely asked their permission. And at the end of it, we ask a couple of other questions just to say, like, what's the goal? What have we done today? What gets you fired up? And also going back and just revisiting it from the sense of, hey, that's an FAQ that I get asked all the time. Now I'm going to take that piece and I'm going to serve it up in a different way, whether that's in an article, whether that's in that clip, and hey, DM me for more, whatever the case may be. So yes, it is certainly something that I have done. I apologize if I'm looking a little distracted. I am just double checking. So I do need to leave the building. I've just received, I was messaging back and forth. So I am going to sign off, but I am going to wish you all a very good day. And yeah, I'm not sure what to do now, but I will leave.
Okay, I'm going to wrap it up and close it out. Stay safe, Stephanie. Hopefully, it's just a drill of some sort. But thank you all so much for joining us today. I had one last tip I wanted to give you. There is an app called Edits that Instagram has created, and they've added a teleprompter feature. When you open up the app, there's a little record button, and when you hit that button, there's a place on the left-hand side for you to tap teleprompter and add your script to it. And it will slowly scroll through. So it's a free Instagram app called Edits that you can now do a teleprompter, which would help you a little bit in not making those mistakes as you're trying to film yourself. Anyway, I hope you guys have a great day. And Stephanie, stay safe and cups up, even though I don't know if either of us have. Mine's empty. I have to go get a fresh one. Anyway, bye.
Bye.